You're listening to the Cheeky Podcast for moms with IBD, a safe space where moms with Crohn's and colitis connect, explore powerful tools for healing, and transform our lives to thrive in motherhood and in life. I'm your host, Karen Haley, IBD health coach, integrative wellness enthusiast, and mom to 3 outstanding kids. After having Crohn's disease for 30 years and working as a health advocate exclusively with IBD clients for the last 10 years, I know it's time to bring the types of candid conversations I have with my clients out into the open. It's our time to go on an IBD healing journey and do it like only a mom can. Let's do this. Well, hey there, dear one. I hope I'm finding you feeling happy today. I hope that I can bring just a little smile to your face when I tell you that today I'm feeling gratitude. I'm feeling gratitude for you and for those lovely messages of support that you have been sending my way. I'm just so glad that this podcast is bringing some hope and some inspiration to your life. So thank you. Thanks for listening, and thanks for telling your fellow IBD mamas about the show. Let's keep spreading that hope to all moms with IBD, because there's a lot of us around the world, and we're stronger when we unite. We've got a very special SCD show coming your way today. You know that the Specific Carbohydrate Diet, it's right up there with my absolute favorite topics in the world. So let's just go ahead and dive in. Today, I am going to make your existing experience on the diet or your move to starting the diet 10 times easier. Now, I know that you know this if you've tried it before, but the SCD is hard enough. We don't want to make it harder when we don't have the right kitchen tools to help us get started and to help us stay committed as we go. But here's the thing about SCD. Even though there are lots of people who will tell you you need these 20 kitchen tools right away, if you're on SCD, the truth is that some of them you need now when you're just starting out, and some of them, they can actually just wait a while. That's why I've designed this episode with 3 sections. So there's the must-have beginner SCD kitchen gadgets. These are the ones that you'll want to definitely have before you get started. Then there's the must-have intermediate kitchen gadgets, and these are the ones that you'll probably need in about a couple months' time if all goes well. Then lastly, we have the must-have advanced SCD kitchen gadgets, and you can wait for these until really well down the road until you are smooth sailing in SCD land. I hope that this list and breaking it up by where you're at on the SCD, I hope that it will give you a little bit less stress when you're getting started. I hope that it will save you from spending all your money at one time. And it will also help you to know what's really important to purchase when it comes to making SCD work best for you. And one last note that I want to mention, every kitchen gadget on this list, it's also interchangeable with the GAPS diet. So these kitchen tools, they're must-haves for either of these diets. And both of these diets, they have their strengths, and both can be equally amazing when it comes to healing your Crohn's or colitis. We won't be delving into the ins and outs of the specific diets, what everything entails on the diets in this episode. So if you're new to the world of SCD and GAPS and you're wondering how might they be able to help me, you'll definitely want to check out episode 20 of the Cheeky Podcast, and I will go ahead and link to it in the show notes because it will give you everything you need to know when it comes to deciding which diet is best for you. So now you know where you can get more information on both of these diets in detail, and you're set with the fact that although I'll mostly be talking about SCD in this episode, know that all of these gadgets work for GAPS as well. Fantastic. Okay, let's go ahead and dive in. So you're toying with the idea of getting started on the SCD diet, or you know it's imminent, like you're starting ASAP. What do you need right away to get yourself started with less stress and more confidence? Well, you need 3 things. There's 3 kitchen gadgets that are going to make your early SCD life 10 times easier. And then I also want to share with you one bonus splurge gadget if you want to purchase it. If you can swing it, this is a good one too. Let's start with number 1. The number 1 kitchen gadget that you'll want when it's time to start the SCD is a yogurt maker. Yogurt, it's the crux of the specific carbohydrate diet. It's that crucial component that helps you balance your gut flora, the bacteria in your gut. Now listen, I know we can get into a huge debate about whether you should start with the yogurt right away, wait until some intestinal healing has taken place, and whether you want to start with dairy or non-dairy yogurt. But here's the thing, unless you're going to skip the yogurt altogether, you are going to need a yogurt maker pretty quickly. So it's a good thing to invest in right away. Now, over the course of my 13 years, almost close to 13 years on the SCD, the yogurt makers, they have changed, they have evolved. Yogurt makers have come, they've gone. But what I want to say is right now, there's no better yogurt maker than the Lavelli. This is a great machine dedicated to making SCD and GAPS yogurts. What I'd like you to do is go ahead and check out their website. I will link to it in the show notes. Check out their yogurt making tutorials because they have videos on there, and then buy the yogurt maker on their site. You will not be sorry that you did it. And by the way, I do want to say that the Lavelli yogurt maker, it does make dairy as well as non-dairy yogurt. So both of those have the probiotic properties that you need to heal your gut. So it will help you, that particular yogurt maker, it will help you for either the dairy or the non-dairy versions. Okay, let's move on and talk about your number 2 must-have kitchen gadget when you're an SCD beginner. And that kitchen gadget is large glass mason jars. These are absolutely the best place to store your chicken stock or your pre-made snack foods. Even leftovers can be stored in glass mason jars. And these jars, they are seriously the best thing for broth. Perfect. It's like it was made for it. When I make my homemade stock, I always know to get out 3 of my large mason jars. That's exactly what it takes to store my stock. And then I place it in the fridge to use throughout the week. It's easy to store and it's easy to find when I'm ready for some gut healing broth. In the beginning days of SCD, when you're hangry and you're going through carbohydrate withdrawal, and yes, that's a real thing, it's important to have snacks ready. It's really a must. You have to have those snacks at the ready when you are feeling hangry. And I love using the mason jars for maybe pureed carrots or other vegetables that you're eating. It's also perfect for your applesauce or your pear sauce. And if you have a few of the smaller, more like the medium-sized mason jars, if you have those on hand, those are perfect for this. But if not, it's okay. The larger ones will do for that just as well. Now, I remember my client Olivia telling this story. It makes me think about her. So I remember my client Olivia, and she was telling me that she was really struggling in the middle of the second week of the SCD. She was beyond the intro diet, and she was moving into some of the well-cooked fruits and vegetables. And Olivia, she was hangry all the time. And in her pre-SCD days, she was a self-described carbaholic. Who can relate to that? I know I can. Pasta, white bread, rice, mashed potatoes, mac and cheese. Those were all her meals of choice. So when Olivia started the SCD, she essentially went cold turkey off of all these foods because they're not on the specific carbohydrate diet. And that's bound to create some carbohydrate withdrawal type symptoms where you just feel hangry or jittery all the time. If you started the SCD and you felt this way, a lot of times it's because of that carbohydrate withdrawal. Now, the antidote to the hangries, it's having food on hand all the time. So as I told Olivia, You never want to have to hunt and pack for food. The temptation to stray, it just becomes way too great. There's just something about having snacks right in the fridge where you don't even have to open the container to know what's in it, right? Because it's in the glass mason jar. Keeping your food there in your early days of SCD, those snacking foods in clear glass containers, it's genius. It worked for me when I went through it. It worked for Olivia when she was going through it, and it will work for you as well. Glass mason jars, a beginner SCD must have. Okay, let's go ahead and finish up our SCD beginner must-have kitchen gadgets list with kitchen gadget number 3, and that's your own dedicated kitchen pieces. The cutting board, pots, pans, utensils, all the places where cross-contamination can occur. Now, while it might not be practical to get all your own, it's not like you can have your own kitchen. You can't get all your own individual kitchen gadgets. I highly recommend that you focus on the ones that you can get. And it starts with the cutting board, because this is the place where small particles of food can get stuck and negatively impact your health. Those little crumbs, they might seem like a small thing, but to a new SCDer, they can have huge negative results. I remember when I started out on the SCD, I didn't have my own pots and pans. And I quickly learned that I was so sensitive to the leftover remnants of food, right? Even those ones that are microscopic, the ones you can't see, the food that was still on the pan, and it ended up being a problem for me. So I decided to buy a couple pieces that were dedicated just to me. And it was the difference between feeling almost well to getting all the way to IBD remission. So think about that, just some food for thought for you. The other place to watch out for cross-contamination, by the way, when it comes to SCD, is your nut butter jar, right? Your peanut butter or your cashew butter, your almond butter, and also the regular butter as well. Because these are places that often get contaminated with bread, because the knife goes in the jar and then it goes onto the bread and then it goes back into the jar again. Same with butter. You know, whether it's the peanut butter or just the stick of butter like I'm talking about, or even a tub of butter, that knife, it just goes in and out. So do yourself a favor and buy your own of these. And if you have kids and they're anything like mine, label it. Label whatever is yours, because you don't want their little hands to end up taking your SCD goodies. Now, I want to mention one last thing before we move on from these kitchen gadgets for beginners. I mentioned that there's a splurge here, and I would definitely go for it. It's a worthwhile purchase in the beginning stages of SCD. And that splurge is a high-quality juicer. Juicing can be highly beneficial and healing for your digestive system, especially in the beginning stages when you really need to get your vitamins and your minerals. You need to get them into your body to help lower your inflammation and boost your immune function. But at this particular time, with all the inflammation in your gut, you're likely not to be able to tolerate those nutrient-dense foods in their whole and natural state. And juicing, it gives you the opportunity to put the fruits and the vegetables in a state that you can easily digest and absorb. Those two words, digest and absorb, those words are music to your inflamed intestinal system. There's so much that I could tell you when it comes to juicing. It's a juicy topic, haha. But the good news is that we already did tackle this. We tackled the whole juicing topic in episode 22. So go back to that one, episode 22, juicing versus smoothies, what's better for gut healing? I will link to it in the show notes, but it will give you everything you need to know about juicing, as well as give you some options when you're ready to purchase your juicer. So go ahead and check that out. It is awesome information for the SCD beginner, because a juicer can be really helpful when it comes to healing. Okay. 3 must-have kitchen gadgets to begin your SCD, with a bonus thrown in so that you have everything that you need for those early days on the diet. So these kitchen supplies, they are most of what you need when you're getting started, but there are definitely a few more items you'll want to consider that can maybe make your SCD life a little bit more quick, a little bit more convenient. And for those items, you're going to want to download my best and most comprehensive kitchen equipment list for the SCD and GAPS diets. It's my most extensive list to date, and it's got everything you need no matter what stage you're in. It's for every stage of SCD, and it's yours absolutely free when you click the link in the show notes, or you could go to KarenHaley.com/gadgets. That's KarenHaley.com/gadgets. And gadgets is GADGETS. KarenHaley.com/gadgets. So you can go there and grab your copy of this really valuable checklist. I know you're going to love it. Okay, so we've covered those must-haves that you need to get started on the SCD when you're in the beginning stages. Now, let's go ahead and move on to the intermediate phase when you're adding in more foods like additional fruits and vegetables and nut milks. So these are my top 3 must-have kitchen gadgets to get you through this period on your healing journey. What's number 1 on the list? It's a nut milk bag. Literally, it's a bag that helps you make your own nut milk, almond milk, cashew milk, coconut milk. All of these milks, they are welcome on the Specific Carbohydrate Diet, but just not in the manner that you're typically used to, the kind that you would buy at the grocery store, those non-dairy milks you might see. I know they seem healthy, but they're actually, most of the ones you buy at the grocery store, they're full of additives, preservatives, and gut disruptors, and they can hinder your healing progress. Plus, more importantly, making your own nut milk, it is so freaking simple, you won't even believe it. And it's totally fun, especially for your kiddos. Think of it kind of like milking a herd of nuts. It's super delicious, it's great tasting, and of course, it's gut healing milk. You're going to love it. You're going to love it when you're ready for this stage on SCD because it will open up your food world to this larger playing field, and it helps you enjoy more variety. And variety is a big thing in SCD world. So it will put more variety into your body. A nut milk bag, it's your gateway to get there. So nut milk bags, they are available all over the internet. They didn't used to be. I remember when I first bought mine, I had to search everywhere to find it, but they're all over the internet. Of course, they have them on Amazon. I will link to my favorite one in your SCD GAPS kitchen equipment checklist. So when you grab it and you go to the show notes and grab it, you can check out the one that I recommend. If you're thinking about trying nut milk for yourself, I'm also going to link to in the show notes an oldie but a goodie instructional video of me making nut milk. It's a video that it's definitely on the older side, but the information is still good. I promise that I will put together a podcast all about the latest in nut milk in the near future. But for now, go there. It is a good but dated video, and you can get it all in the show notes. All right, let's go ahead and move on and talk about your SCD kitchen gadget must-have number 2 in your intermediate stage, and that is the crock pot or the Instant Pot. When it comes to the crock pot or the Instant Pot, I've got 2 words for you. Game changer. Both of them, they free up so much of your time, so much of your kitchen time. It really is, either one of these, true game changers. Now, the crock pot, it's fantastic. I've had mine for years. It slow cooks soups, stews, chicken stock, that chicken stock that you're eating or drinking a ton of on this diet at this point. So it's really helpful for that because it can really help with the time that you're not spending in the kitchen. It can help with the flavor factor. So it's fantastic. A crock pot is perfect. Everything that's in there just kind of marinates and simmers for hours. So that's really the beauty of a crock pot. You just put all of your food in the morning and it's ready for you by dinner time. And there's no extra work. It's not labor intensive in the meal department. It's just done. Now, in recent years, the Instant Pot, I'm sure you've heard of it, it's exploded all over the world. It's just like a crock pot in its ability to create super rich, flavorful food that you don't have to be chained to the kitchen to make. But the Instant Pot, it adds this additional benefit. Your food is cooked in an instant. Well, okay, almost an instant. But I've made a complete delicious meal for my family, SCD legal, of course, in about 30 minutes flat with the Instant Pot. So how cool is that? Things like garlic chicken, turkey tacos, lemon dill salmon, sweet and spicy chicken stew, pot roast, all of these dishes in 30 minutes in my Instant Pot. It's truly a wonder. But the most important thing that I make in my Instant Pot is my chicken stock. It's rich and full of gut-healing gelatin and collagen without having to spend all that time and hours cooking it. I really love it for that. You're spending so much time in the kitchen, honestly, making your own food for SCD. I don't know about you, but I'd buy any kitchen gadget that saved me time, right? The crock pot and the Instant Pot, they do just that for you. So do yourself a favor, SCD or not, get one of these. If you don't have one, get one of these must-have kitchen favorites. And by the way, Instant Pots, they're not just for dinner or for your stock. I have many clients that make their homemade fermented yogurt in the Instant Pot, and they swear by it. So just a thought for you there as well. Okay, there's one last must-have kitchen gadget that I want to share with you for when you're in the intermediate stages of the SCD. Kitchen gadget number 3 is a high-speed blender. Oh, the power of a high-speed blender. Soups, smoothies, sauces, salad dressings, nut butter, nut milk. I think that I use my blender, my high-speed blender, at least once a day. And that's not counting the number of times that my kids use it either. We're definitely a high-speed blending family. I have a link for my favorite high-speed blender in your SCD GAPS kitchen equipment checklist. But just know that it doesn't have to cost you a fortune to buy a high-quality, high-speed blender. There's several available on the market today. And I also talk about my favorite blender brands in that episode I was telling you about before, episode 22, the one where I talk about juicing versus smoothies. So if you're in the market to upgrade your old-fashioned blender, and I highly encourage you to do it, go ahead and check it out. Either way, you'll get steered in the right direction when it comes to blenders. All right, we've made it to our last category of must-have SCD kitchen gadgets. These are the gadgets that you'll need when you're in the more advanced stages on your gut healing journey. Isn't it cool that you don't need all these gadgets at once? Don't believe the hype. You don't need them all together. You can buy them a little bit at a time when you're ready for them. Now, kitchen gadget number 1, I have to tell you, it isn't technically a gadget. It's more of what I would call an accompaniment to your kitchen supplies, maybe. I guess that's what I would call it. But it's a must-have for SCDers once you start incorporating nut flour into your diet. And nut flours, they are a beautiful thing. In moderation, but they're a beautiful thing. We always celebrate this moment when I'm working with a client and they have gotten to the point where they're able to tolerate nut flours because it's a huge deal. It opens up. You think that your world opened up with nut milk? Oh my goodness, with nut flour, your world explodes. So gadget number 1, and like I said, it's not really a gadget technically, but it's a must-have. It's simple. It's baking cups. You know those paper cups that you might use when you're making muffins or cupcakes? You put them in the cupcake tin? Yeah, baking cups. I know it's a small purchase, but trust me, baking cups are vital. They're vital on your SCD life. In your life prior to SCD, it's like there's before SCD and post SCD life, but in your life before SCD, you probably were used to breaking out that baking spray called Pam or something like that, and you added it to your baking batters. You added it directly to the muffin pan when you were working with some sort of batter. This is just not going to work when it comes to your nut flours. First of all, they stick, and you're really going to be lucky to get any of your baked good off of the pan. And secondly, Pam and those kinds of sprays, I know there's a lot of other ones, they're not allowed on the SCD due to their gut disrupting ingredients like soy lecithin and dimethylsilicone. Do yourself a favor, stock up on baking cups when you're ready for nut flours. And actually, I do want to point out too that they're more versatile than you think. They're not just for your baked goods like your muffins or cupcakes. I use them all the time for things like egg extraordinary breakfasts. Haha. I use them for little egg cups, and I have lots of recipes surrounding that. Or maybe I use them for dinner. I make these really super kid-friendly meatballs. So it's a meatball, it's in the baking cup, and then I put a little topper on it of a whipped butternut squash, which is, I know that might not sound good, but actually it's delicious. So I use them for other things besides baking. They're really versatile. Baking cups are a must. They're a must addition to your SCD kitchen gadget supplies. And along those same lines with the baking cups, when it comes to SCD baking, you're also going to want to purchase Advanced SCD Mode Kitchen Gadget number 2, and that is a Silpat mat or parchment paper. Just like your muffins, they will stick to your cupcake pan. Everything else you bake with nut flour, it will stick as well. We're talking cookies, pizza, breads, biscuits, you get what I'm talking about. All of these delicious foodie items, they will stick to your sheet pan, your pizza stone, your loaf pan, your 9x13 pan. So you're going to need some sort of non-stick surface and something other than the toxic baking spray. That's definitely not the answer here. But a Silpat mat, that's a perfect thing to use. It's more of a permanent and an environmentally friendly option because you can reuse this kitchen gadget over and over. Parchment paper, on the other hand, it's also non-stick, but it will need to be recycled after you use it. In my kitchen, I use both. When I'm using something for my sheet pan, when I'm baking something that I put on the sheet pan, I use the Silpat mat. It's the perfect choice for that. But for breads, for example, that I make in a loaf pan, the parchment paper, it does the trick every time. The Silpat mat isn't going to fit in there. So that's why I use both. All right, let's talk about one last advanced stage must-have kitchen gadget. It's gadget number 3 in the advanced category, and it's something called the Hot Logic Mini. All right, now words, they absolutely cannot describe how much I love and appreciate this invention. It's another SCD game changer. By the time you've moved into the advanced SCD stages, you're gaining more confidence in your eating away from home. You're taking food on the go, and this is where the Hot Logic Mini will come into play. It's seriously a must-have kitchen gadget because it's a portable food carrier and a heater for all of your SCD on-the-go food. Before COVID, I used my Hot Logic Mini practically every day. It allowed me to take my food wherever I went. It kept it cold and fresh, and then at lunchtime, I would just heat it up as long as I had access to an outlet. You plug it in. I'd also take it on every road trip that we took with my family. I'd plug it into my car's outlet, and then it would keep my food warm and ready for me whenever I was ready for it. So you can think of it kind of like a small portable crock pot on the warm setting. It keeps your food warm for as long as you need it to, and it never burns because it's always at the warmer setting, never high heat. And I haven't used my Hot Logic Mini in ages because I've really been living so close to home during the pandemic. And I have to tell you, it seems like a small thing, but I can't wait till I get to use it every day again. And I feel it. I feel like we're getting there, Mama. Do you feel it too? I feel like we're getting there. The Hot Logic Mini. It's like having your own portable oven with you everywhere you go. It's fantastic for SCDers. All right, I've got to leave you with one more bonus kitchen gadget. It's not a necessity, and it is a little bit of a splurge depending on how much you want to spend on it, but it will make your nut flour eating on your SCD life that much sweeter. And that last bonus item is, drum roll for the last one, it's a toaster oven. If there's one thing that I know about almond and coconut flour goodies, it's that they always taste better warm. And the toaster oven, it allows you to warm them directly from the freezer without heating them up in the entire oven. And my family, they've gotten so used to the toaster oven. They are so into it for everything, really, that I don't think we ever use our microwave anymore. It's replaced it. And to that, I say good riddance. I'm happy to get rid of that kitchen gadget for sure. All right, so there you have it. That's my complete list. Every must-have SCD kitchen gadget that you've got to have to make sure that you have the best and easiest SCD journey possible. Let's go ahead and just do a quick recap before we finish for today. So in the category of SCD beginner, those must-have kitchen gadgets that you'll want to get are a yogurt maker, and you're going to need that one very soon, so I suggest you purchase that pretty quickly. Also, large glass mason jars. They're great for chicken stock and all your snacky goodies. Then there's your own kitchen pieces, like a cutting board and possibly pots, pans, or other cooking utensils. And the last thing in that beginner category, the bonus item, was a juicer. There's just no better way to digest and absorb your nutrients in the beginning. All right, then we moved into category number 2, the SCD intermediate category, and we talked about those must-have kitchen gadgets. So in that category, we've got your nut milk bag. And you don't want to be buying the grocery store nut milk. It's not SCD legal, and it's full of gut disruptors. So the nut milk bag is the solution for that. We also talked about the crock pot or the Instant Pot because they are absolutely perfect for making your cooking life easier with SCD. Lastly, I mentioned the high-speed blender, perfect for soups, sauces, and everything in between. Lastly, the category we just went through, that's your SCD advanced stages, and your must-have kitchen gadgets in that category were the baking cups, super simple but fantastic for non-stick nut flour goodness, your Silpat mat and or your parchment paper. Both are awesome because they can help you bake a variety of things without having to use those cooking sprays. And then there was also the Hot Logic Mini, my favorite game changer for SCD on the go. Lastly, the last thing I mentioned was a bonus in the advanced category, and that is your toaster oven because it just makes your nut flour goodies taste delish. Are you ready? Are you ready to start or to accelerate your SCD journey, mom friend? I know that you can do it. So don't be deterred when you just look at the SCD and you start thinking about how difficult it can be, because these kitchen gadgets, they will make every stage of your SCD journey much easier. The SCD is possible, and having just that little bit of extra help, it can be the key to you failing or succeeding on this diet. Remember, there's nothing that I like more than talking about the Specific Carbohydrate Diet. So hit me up with your cues about kitchen gadgets or other SCD topics anytime. That's what I'm here for. Don't forget to grab your copy of my best and most comprehensive kitchen equipment checklist for the SCD and GAPS diets. It's got all the gadgets that I mentioned today, plus the brands that I recommend. It's got tons more of your SCD and GAPS kitchen gadgets that will make your life easy as pie. And of course, that's grain-free pie, right? Just go ahead and head to the show notes, click the link to download the checklist, or you can head over to KarenHaley.com/gadgets. And remember, that's Karen with a Y. Either way, I've got you covered. Until the next episode, I'm wishing you a cheeky and healthy IBD healing journey. Chat soon. Thank you so much for joining me today and for listening to today's episode. When it comes to IBD, I know there's a lot of resources out there, and I'm truly honored that you chose the Cheeky Podcast to get your IBD information today. If you found this information helpful, please give us a rating and review. It helps other moms find the podcast and see what we're doing over here to help IBD moms everywhere. And if you feel called to do it, share this podcast with an IBD mom who you know could really use an uplifting message today, because that's what we're all about over here at the Cheeky Podcast. One last thing, if you're still with me, and if you are, you're definitely my kind of gal. We have to get to know each other better. If you're tired of living on the hamster wheel of IBD with all the ups and downs between flares and remission, if you're struggling to get control of your abdominal pain, gas, bloating, diarrhea, and other troubling IBD symptoms, go to my website. It's KarenHaley.com, and my mom had to be just a little bit different, spell my name with a Y. So it's KarenHaley.com, and schedule your very own free 30-minute IBD root cause troubleshooting session with me, where we discuss the challenges you've been having, we set goals to help you move forward, and we talk about how we can work together to help you get your life back. It's a power-packed 30 minutes. You don't have to live in IBD status quo. There's so much that can be done to transform your life so you can thrive in motherhood and thrive with IBD. I've seen my clients walk this path, and it gives me so much joy to take that journey with them. My entire coaching practice is run online, so you never have to leave your house and you never have to get out of your jammy or yoga pants for us to work together. You know I'm wearing them too. If you're ready to take your first amazing step towards healing, I'm ready to chat with you. Schedule your free 30-minute IBD root cause troubleshooting sesh today at KarenHaley.com. Click on the Work With Me tab, and I'll see you soon. It's important to note that the information in this podcast and in this episode is for general information purposes only and not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice. The statements made in the Cheeky Podcast for moms with IBD, either by me or my guests, is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Before implementing any new treatment protocols, do yourself a favor and consult your physician first. Thank you so much for listening, for being here, for saving this space for us to spend some time together. Until we chat again, I'm wishing you a cheeky and healthy IBD journey.